Let's go Cincinnati Bengals at the Los Angeles Chargers. It's Sunday Night Football. Chargers favored by 1.5. I wonder if Chris will have flashbacks to the 81, 82 AFC Championship, the 69 below game or whatever it was.
It was at the Freezer Bowl?
Freezer Bowl. This was the matchup.
The coldest game. It's still the coldest game in NFL history, right?
Yeah. But as we've said, like it was like 60 below, whatever it was. But it's like, no, it was really 30 below. You know, they recalibrated things, and it was really 30 below.
They recalibrated things?
Yeah, I don't know.
What?
That's what I've heard. That it was exaggerated, is measured improperly back then.
Temperature changed at some point?
The measuring.
It's just like when they redid the SAT scores and everyone got stupider after the fact. Like you're telling me that at some point they just recalibrated temperature?
The SAT, they just added like a third 800-point opportunity for you.
Yeah.
In writing or something.
But like it feels like temperature scale shouldn't change. This is the temperature. We don't like reevaluate.
Don't question me. But all I'm saying is it was reported as 60 below and it was probably only 30 below. Either way, that was the matchup. Yeah, this one's in a dome though, so it's kind of irrelevant. I'm just wondering, Chris is going to talk about that.
Yeah.
They're gonna have a flashback to the Freezer Bowl. You know they're gonna. Dan Fouts, Chris Collinsworth, the Bengals, Ken Anderson. You know it's gonna happen. Chargers favored by 1.5 here. Over under per FanDuel is at 47.5. First few games here, the people in Vegas are expecting a lot of points. It should be an exciting weekend.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, coming off the game last week, it'll be interesting to see how the Chargers defense attacks Jamar Chase. Like, how do they stop a guy going for 260 yards against them? Particularly when, Cincinnati doesn't have a ton of other weapons at this point. Like, they've got players, but none of these guys scare you the same way Chase does. T. Higgins has been out. He's the one guy that you would be like, okay, we can't disrespect T. Higgins too much by sending all the coverage to Jamar Chase. With him out of the lineup, there's been nobody that you would say that to. So, and yet Chase has still been going nuts for crazy yardage. The Chargers defense has been fantastic against the pass. Like, how do they specifically try and take away Jamar Chase?
Yeah, that matchup's going to be awesome. The Chargers defense is only allowing, or their team is only allowing 13.1 points per game. That's 3 points fewer than the Steelers, who are second in the league. So the Chargers, by far the best scoring defense in the NFL so far this season, against this explosive Bengals offense. As I said on the show yesterday, Burrow should be an MVP candidate. He just is. Like, if you're isolating the quarterback's play and his contribution to the team's wins, he's doing it. Chase is an offensive player of the year candidate. And on the defensive side, as bad as their defense has been, they'd be even worse without Trey Hendrickson, who's got the most pressures in the NFL, and I think should be a defensive player of the year candidate. So for the 8th straight week, pivotal game for Cincinnati. If they don't win this one, this could be it. I mean, they are really creeping toward must-win territory. I'm thinking that 7 seed in the AFC, can you get in at 9-8, perhaps?
Right.
And so they're 4-6. Like, if you're Cincinnati and you're really looking at the season here, can you afford to lose 1 or 2 more times? Because I think, Cincinnati has the ability to be that team. If they get into the playoffs, they can do some damage.
No, I do think that we said it before, that last wild card spot, I think is going to be very winnable. But Cincinnati's absolutely a team that can get it done. You need to win these games, though, if you're going to make that happen. And the way they're going to win it, if it happens, is the same way they win all their games, which is relying on like the 3 superstar players they have to all cook. Burrow's got to be near flawless. Jamar Chase has got to have a big game, or at least have so much of a gravitational effect on that defense that somebody else can have a huge game by virtue of not being covered essentially by anybody. And then Trey Hendrickson's got to have a big impact to try and slow down the Chargers offense. So all those things happen. Cincinnati has a chance. Any one of the 3 doesn't happen, they're up against it.
On the other side, so you got the class of 2020 QBs here, Joe Burrow versus Justin Herbert. That was years ago a hot button issue between both fan bases, the Chargers and Bengals, debating which quarterback was better. Herbert, tale of 2 seasons for him. If you just, you make the cutoff since week 7, highest graded PFF quarterback by far. I mean, he's been really good since that point. Previous to that, not so good. He did not have a PFF grade over 62 in his first 5 games. And now he's been 89, 95, 74, 91. So Herbert's tearing it up right now. Normally, I don't buy into those splits too much, Sam. But Herbert's been hurt, right?
Yeah.
He had so many injuries earlier in the year. Plus, you have the new system, and it's, Greg Roman, and how's this going to fit? I think all of those things maybe do tell a story that Herbert these last few weeks is playing a lot closer to his previous levels. So I think we're going to see an awesome quarterback matchup here.
Yeah, and I'm going to be interested. They tapped into him more in the design running game now that he's gotten healthier. They're using the kind of calls that Greg Roman used to dial up for Lamar Jackson. So that is an interesting development that makes him even more difficult to stop. Have we got a definitive answer on that question now of Burrow versus Herbert?
I think Burrow's better.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I only live in Twitter world a little bit. I don't watch NFL broadcasts or analysis on TV until it gets shown to us on Wednesdays.
Shouty shows.
During the shouty shows. And the shouty shows had Burrow. Like if Burrow beat Mahomes in the AFC Championship a couple of years, people were declaring him QB1 in the world.
Yeah.
Based off that one game. That's what the shouty shows were saying. I think Burrow's actually underrated because I think there are people who still look at him. Like evaluation's difficult because I think once you get to the NFL, it's no longer scouting based. Like when you're scouting a college player, you look at arm strength and you look at these things because of there's this theoretical upside. I think the people who criticize Burrow in NFL circles criticize his arm. And they're like, well, his arm isn't as great, and Herbert's arm is great. And they make these comparisons, and Herbert's faster. And it's like, doesn't matter. Like they're playing NFL football right now. There are 0 times since his rookie season that I've looked at Joe Burrow's arm and said, oh, that's a problem. That's not going to play. The dude throws pinpoint dimes at the intermediate level in the NFL and downfield. His arm strength is not an issue. And I feel like the people who don't rank Burrow high enough in the rankings or whatever are still looking at tools when he's just overall better. I think he's in the Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes tier of quarterback. And I think Herbert is probably like a smidge below that. And then you get into this whole RQB wins and losses directionally correct. And you still have a little bit of Herbert's career where it's like all these different offensive coordinators, and it's always landed around 500. I just want to see more of him, yanking the team with him to carry him. So I think I'd say Burrow. Who's better, Burrow or Herbert?
I think Burrow is better. I think you're right. Like Herbert has superior physical tools, but Burrow is a better quarterback.
Yeah. You're really concise today. Right to the point. I'm trying to expound on these big, and you're just like, yeah, Burrow's better quarterback.
Well, you did it.
You're right. All right, man. Let's pick the football game. Chargers by 1.5 here Sunday night. Can't wait for this. I'm not going to wait all day for this one because, Bills, Chiefs.
Right.
Other games, Steelers, Ravens. But I'll be excited when the game is.
We'd be waiting during other things,
Plus, we have to work. We're gonna be live before this, and then we'll wait for it.
Right. I'll go with the Chargers to win and cover at home.
All right, I'll take the Bengals as underdogs. They're going on their run.
Now.
I'm out on the Bengals if they lose.
Starts
this
now.
is it. Yeah, it starts now. I'll take Cincinnati, as will Harry, taking the Bengals as underdogs here.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.